We had a very young man, the syringe wasn't even a quarter of the way in, and he went blue immediately.
Losing a lot of people with this stuff, you know, it's young ages, you know, 16. My son was only 26 when he died.
The worst thing to see is like those two white vans. Whenever somebody overdoses and dies, there's two white vans, and that's the, I guess, it's the coroner's vans. So whenever you see those two white vans, you know that somebody passed away and didn't make it.
We have this market here, it's on Hastings Street, and behind us in the alley is people hang out there and use drugs. So, you know, we're out in the open, we have a market, the market's for homeless people, it's for people to make a little extra money. We're outside, we're here, and so people come running to us if there's any emergencies.
And we'd hear people yelling Narcan or overdose. So we made sure we had a kit, but it was always that panic, you know, where's the kit? Did someone move it? Did someone use it? When I open it, is it going to be empty?
As there was more overdoses in the neighborhood that we were experiencing, we were needing to become way more organized with our approach, just to make sure that we have extra, because there was so many overdoses happening.
And then when Janet, her son died, and it just brought it home.
Well, on the 23rd of August, he came through the market. This past August. Him and his girlfriend, he knew I didn't like his girlfriend, so he looked at me and just walked out. He didn't look right. And then about an hour or so later, there was a young girl came and asked, "Where is Janet Charlie here?" And I said, "I'm right here." And that's when they told me Tyler collapsed, you know. Doesn't look like he's gonna make it. And I told that girl, I said, "Do you know what, you're not God. And don't say he's gone. He's not gone."
Last time they stopped it.
Thank you, Doug. Thanks, Doug, for that. And I just want to remind everybody that we're in the context of a public health emergency. Doug mentioned 6 months being fast in a legal community, and yeah, that's right. You know, 6 minutes is a long time if you're experiencing an overdose. And in the 90s, we had the same thing, and we had a public health emergency declared in 1997. You know, 6 years later, Insight opened its doors. 5 years later, Dr. Peter Center opened its doors. So it took that long for a community to mobilize, politicians to mobilize, and I mean, it's mind-numbingly slow, this change.
I think it's painfully obvious that the response by the system, the institutions, is taking a long time. So while that response is being organized and coordinated inside, you know, 3 levels of government, along come Sarah and Anne and set up a tent.
This show is raising money for the Overdose Prevention Society, who's present in the front row tonight. Give it up for the Overdose Prevention Society. And the money is being raised. The Overdose Prevention Society operates what are called pop-up safe injection sites on the Downtown Eastside. So basically, these are safe injection sites that are not government sanctioned. Therefore, they need voluntary contributions to operate. Jess, do you know what a safe injection site is? Okay, well, anyway, basically a safe injection site, for those of you who are pretending you don't know, is a place where you can get high and not die.
a person would come and say, would you witness me so that, you know, in case I have an overdose? And so we said, yeah, of course we would do that. So it just sort of grew into a table, tent, chair, and a person watching, and then it, you know, people started to feel more comfortable with us.
It's unsanctioned, which means it's illegal. The first press I think we got was the Vancouver Sun had an editorial saying we should all be arrested. I was very pessimistic and I was really upset. I figured if we started anything, they'd make us shut it down. In the past, Vandu had been forced to close down an injection site by Vancouver Coastal Health Authority and an injection van that I went and set up. That stayed with me for a long time, that terrible feeling of having to tell 50 to 100 people to go in a day to go in the alley and use their drugs. It was awful. And so I thought maybe the same thing would happen to us, and it didn't.
Someone asked the police, you know, well, what are you going to do about this? And they said, well, that's a health thing. It has nothing to do with us, right? That's a great response. They're absolutely right. Here are a bunch of citizens out in the back alley trying to save some lives with some naloxone. And really that's all they're doing. They are being available. They're lifeguards.
1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000, 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000. Now while we're doing this as well, Dan is going to have his naloxone kit. Going to fill the syringe with 0.04 of naloxone, and I'm still bagging the whole time as he's doing this. Now if the client now hasn't got up and is still showing signs that she's not breathing, 4 minutes after we've started this, after the first injection, then Dan will do another injection, and we'll keep doing that until the ambulance and paramedics get here.
The person's dead by now. Still popping in. You get this mask on somebody, so there's an overdose, someone's down. It should be. The protocol is Lee or Dave immediately is notified. They need to be in charge of the overdose. When this mask is put on, am I doing this right? Chin at the bottom, ladies. This way. Holy fuck, I can't look. Whatever. Once it's on, what I want to point out is that we need 2 people. Once someone's doing breaths, 2 people, because someone has to hold this mask. Am I doing this right? I'm doing this wrong.
We opened on September 20th. We opened 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, right off the get-go. Just the heroic effort of the people who were volunteers at the market, who then would volunteer at the tent, and then we'd recruit a little bit from the tent.
People taking care of each other. We can train everybody in the community when they come in. They can be trained. They can also work here a shift. They know how to use Narcan, then anyone can work a shift here, and I think that makes this place really unique.
I've been here since before Christmas. That we're seeing more people now that we do have power and we do have heat. You know, I dress in layers. A lot of people aren't so fortunate because they don't have all the things that they need to dress for retirement. Even though when I'm standing outside, I'm hot.
Yeah, you're hot when you're outside?
You gotta pull it again though.
Okay, you're not gonna look foolish, but you know what? Everyone has to look foolish one of these days.
You didn't get it. Let me do it myself. Let me do it myself. You have no idea. No, I got this one. Those don't, but I keep that for the next one. Thank you so much.
We don't judge people for what they do on their own time. For myself personally, like, I come from the background where, yes, I did work with drug addicts. I am a drug addict myself. I see a variety of different people come in to help out, whether you're a drug addict, an alcoholic, anybody for that matter. You know, it could be grandma, for all I know.
When they can talk to somebody that's not got a background degree, or they can talk to somebody that has a degree but has been through the experience, and that's half the battle. For the majority, I would say it's a good thing. It's extremely helpful to have people that live here, that know the area, that know the land. It's important. If it's a bad thing, they know where you live. So, you know, it has its perks, but for the majority, I would say it's a good thing.
It kind of win over people as they are very skeptical of you. You know, drug users think anyone who does nice stuff is either a Christian, a cop, or a crazy person. So I don't know, I think we're the crazy people, but anyway, eventually you kind of win them over that you're not up to something.
It's just easier to, I guess, use here than out on the street where you feel like there's always eyes watching you and you're being watched and judged, and you just don't get judged here. I've Narcan 29 people and saved them. And it's like the best feeling in the world when they wake up and like they're just so thankful that you saved their life. It's like there's no need to like thank me. Like, of course I'm gonna save you. I'm not gonna just let you lay there and die.
Thanks, guys.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drug users know they can feel the strength of things, and if they're in this kind of environment, it's so good for them to just be like, something is wrong, and that may be before they start to go under if they have that relationship with you.
So Narcan has been seen as this magic bullet. It goes in and sits in the receptor and bounces the opiate off into the body, and it can reverse an overdose for a very short amount of time. What we really, really push for is for people to understand that even if you don't have Narcan, breathing for that person until EMS arrives is the life-sustaining thing.
So if you put your chin to your chest and try and take a deep breath, don't feel like hard, right? It's really hard. Put your chin up, try and take the same deep breath. A little bit easier, a lot easier.
September went by, October went by, and then in the third week of November, this very pronounced change occurred with the number of overdoses. And there was word all over the street, and that's when I think they felt they really were sort of lucky that we were there.
There's got to be a better solution than a tent in a rainy back alley in the long term, but there's certainly, it might be part of the solution for a long time as we build more treatment programs or other types of institutional responses to this disaster.
So this is the beginning of a memorial project, and it's been put on the 1-year anniversary of a public health emergency. So it's very unsettling to not know which of your friends and neighbors have died. And I think it's adding to the grief of people in this neighborhood. And I think it's adding to the overdoses as people lose hope and become more reckless with their drug use. We're so grateful for the people with the naloxone kits, and we keep treading water amidst people overdosing.
I rarely ever don't use in one of these sites. I just think it's almost selfish to go and do that just because you want to get high. You got to think about how it's going to seriously affect other people and affect their lives for the future. Like it's screwed up mine and destroyed mine because now I'm addicted to heroin, and I'm seriously addicted to it because people were just going and using, my friends were just going and using, not thinking that it could kill them.
What's been lost in this crisis is the well-being of the de facto first responders. When you have reversed a really difficult overdose or had a negative outcome of an overdose, and then you're just left to sit with that, people in this neighborhood are giving their time, giving their emotion, giving their own well-being to keep their friends alive.
And that's one of the most difficult things, I think. You know, it's that you see the most vulnerable people being treated in a way where they don't get the proper medical care. People all want to live a life with family, friends, you know, some way to contribute in society, some way to be accepted, and with medical help that helps them so that they can, you know, feel better without having to be homeless and having to be searching for something to make them feel okay.
How many people in the audience knew all about heroin-assisted? No. How many people in the audience didn't know anything about heroin-assisted treatment when they came in the door tonight?
That's within reach in terms of a reform, adding prescription opiates to the treatment regime. I think what's needed more than that, in a way, is just access to prescription opiates.
And until we see less people dying, then we're still feeling that there's not enough being done, and not a big enough deal is being made out of it. It's just being brave enough for governments to be brave enough to take the steps that are needed.
Yeah, watch that window blow your way.
Well, I'm a drywall. There's some used to this.
Oh yeah, nothing for you. Rock and roll. We will not go quietly. Let's go.
Marching up to freedom. They say drug war, we say no more. They say drug war, we say no more. They say drug war, we say no more. They say drug war, we say no more.
I also want to acknowledge all the unsung heroes in our community who are doing their part, and yet the sirens still call. More must be done, so I ask you to question yourself. How can I help?
This is one of the first fentanyl deaths.
Yeah, and then they'll hang them from trees after the fire.
Oh, that's what we're doing. Okay.
That's what I heard.